be running nicely. Oh, that's wonderful. We've got our first 2 people in the chat. Hello. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're down here in Parliament Square and we are covering the protests for and against the assisted dying bill. Right. Got a big crowd on the other side. So these in pink are pro, the ones in white generally are against. So let's begin. Right, are you jumping on camera?
Sorry?
Are you jumping on camera?
I will do, yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us why you're out here today then.
Well, I feel really strongly against the assisted suicide bill. I mean, nobody knows what the future lies ahead. I'm okay now, but I want to do this for other people, not just myself and coming generations. And I've heard about the MAIDS scheme in Canada, you know, where people have thousands of pounds of medical bills in debts and everything. And the state is pressurising them, saying, do you not feel like a burden? And we should care for people, not kill them off.
Beautiful. And so you're worried that the state is going to abuse this then?
Absolutely, 100%.
What leads you to think the state would ever try and kill people?
Oh my gosh, Wilsey, there's a question. I've only been awake about 5 or so years, but you know, I've looked at history and things like that from like the Second World War, and you know, people really should look into the history, you know, and the arms trade and everything, and the, dare I say, the R family and everything like that, and you know, we should just be caring for people, not ending their lives.
Yeah, thank you. Wonderful. Would you like to say something, madam? What brings you out here today?
I'm a doctor and I don't want to be involved in killing people. I've been spending my time trying to keep them alive and help them.
Okay, thank you. You alright there, lads?
Yeah.
What brings you out here today then? If I may?
The bill.
So what are the problems with the bill?
Oh Christ, seriously?
Go on. For those who don't know.
Who are you filming for?
Resistance GB.
Okay, and what's resist? Oh, okay.
We cover anyone who's pro-freedom, so we covered all the farmers' rallies, the freedom rallies, Julian Assange stuff.
Well, there's a bill going through Parliament at the moment to give people the right to kill themselves, and we don't agree with that on the basis that until you give disabled people more assistance in living and making our lives easier to live, we don't feel you should be trying to kill us.
Are you worried about what's been happening in Canada?
Yeah, very much so.
Do you want to let people know what's been happening in Canada?
Well, they passed a bill similar to ours, and then it got expanded as soon as it became law and got amended. And the definition of who can be allowed to kill themselves has vastly increased, to the extent now I think we've had about 60,000 people kill themselves.
Wow. And do you think that 60,000 people, there are anywhere near 60,000 people in chronic pain?
There are. I mean, in this country there'll be millions of people who will be living with cancer and other issues, but they are not wanting to end their lives, but what they would like is to have a decent palliative care system and have a state-run hospice system, so that as and when we feel we potentially are coming towards the end of our lives, we can end our lives in dignity, but going through the palliative care system.
if
Do you want to just wait a minute? You've got a big motor going behind you.
What is that motor? What's it powering? Oh, I think they're doing roadworks or something.
It's only just started.
Oh, okay.
Will you?
Do you want to come forward just a bit and I can aim it this way? If you just face me this way, perfect. Then at least I'm aiming away from the noise. There we go.
Yeah, so my name's Kevin, and 27 years ago I was diagnosed as being terminally ill, inverted commas. I met the criteria of this current bill, and if my consultant and medical team had offered me the option of assisted suicide 27 years ago, I might well have taken up the option, because it was feeling hopeless. I felt very isolated and disconnected, and anyway, fast forward 27 years, I am still here, and there will be many disabled and older people who will find themselves in the situation that I found myself in, and may well take the option when it's not necessary. And we need to spend more money as a nation on palliative care. Hospice provision needs to be state funded, not the charity model of providing hospice services. Mental health support for people with life-limiting conditions. We need to fix broken Britain before we start. And I'm very supportive of, because I've been in that particular situation. So I'm all for supporting people and assisting people who are facing life-limiting illnesses, but I'm opposed to changing the law and making it a legal option for people to then be coerced, and anyone who's a disabled person or brown or a black person in this country knows there are no safeguards against the British state.
Well, what do you mean with like the jabs?
In terms of safeguarding, the state is very bad at protecting, for example, disabled people. So the illusion that this bill creates enough safeguards for people to not fall through the safeguards is an illusion.
Do you think that part of the agenda behind this bill is to save money?
I think obviously, well, I think the government's own impact assessment shows that a lot of money will be saved in terms of people using services for an extended period of time. So clearly there are going to be savings, and disabled people have not noticed that this comes at the same time as the government is trying to push through Parliament massive cuts to welfare benefits that severely impact on disabled people. So when you put two and two together, we end up dead.
I'm sorry about that. Where can people go to find out more information about this?
So I'm involved in a campaign group called Not Dead Yet, and you can Google Not Dead Yet, and there's a website and information, and come and join us. Disabled people have not had enough of a profile in this discussion, in this debate, and it's been polarised as being a religious and a non-religious issue. For a lot of disabled people, it's not a religious issue. It's a matter of life and death.
I see. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. There we go.
What's your name?
Will. Thank you.
Sorry, gotta go. She wants to go the last.
Hello there. May I ask what brings you out here today?
I'm here because I'm concerned for vulnerable people who might end up choosing assisted dying that's not actually what they want due to outside pressures.
So, what are the problems with the bill? How's the bill going to bring that in?
There are lots of problems with the bill. One of them being that someone could be depressed, for example, and it's not compulsory that they get treated for their mental health problems before they qualify for the bill. And so it could be the case that it's their mental health problem that is the reason why they want to die, but we're not trying to fix that. Our solution is, oh, we'll help you die then, instead of, oh, why don't we try and help you not feel like this. There's like SSRIs, mental health medications, therapy, that kind of thing, but that's not the solution. We're not mandating that is the solution.
So I was just speaking to a gentleman and I asked him whether he thought that this was essentially to save money as being forked out for people who are, crippled, disabled, and who are going to cost money in the long term. Do you think that this could just be a cost-saving measure?
I can see how it could be, but I think the people on the other side are actually very compassionate, and I sympathise with that viewpoint, and I think they genuinely think that they're doing the right thing. But from my perspective, we're actually going to cause more suffering with this bill.
So what do you think could happen to the bill that would make it workable or fixable?
I don't really think there is much that could be done to the bill. If you look at other countries, there's always a slippery slope that happens. Safeguards get worn down, people take it to a human rights court, and if you say that people with 6 months left to live have a right to die, then why doesn't someone with 12 months to live?
Or 2 years, or 3 years,
exactly.
Or 5 years?
The boundaries always change, which pretty much makes it impossible to have a safe bill.
Yeah, thank you. And would you like to talk a little bit? What's the main thing for you?
I think just the fact that there are so many professionals that have been named in the bill as being there for the safeguard purposes, the psychiatrists, governing body kind of thing, I don't know what it's called, but the Royal College of Psychiatrists, that's it. And they've been named as like the psychiatrists are going to be the ones that can tick off, can say this person is capable of making a decision about whether they want to die or not, has the mental capacity to do that. And they've said that this bill is not the right thing, and I kind of think, how can we not listen to our professionals on this? I think it makes doctors go against their Hippocratic oath that they've had, that is the very thing that makes them doctors, that is, we care for people and we'll do our best to help them live in the best way they can.
Are doctors going to be forced to apply this, I say treatment, but are they going to be forced into executing people?
I don't think they're, especially with the print in the bill, I don't think they're going to be forced to do it. That's not to be said that they won't perhaps feel some pressure. In that sense, though, there is the kind of conscientious objection kind of clause there that says they can opt out of it. Again, I think you see in other areas which conscientious objection is applied in the medical field, you do see people having lots of challenges with that and with the law courts in those areas also. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, where can people find you guys? Nowhere. They can't
We're
find
just
you.
worried members of the public who are very proud of our country and don't want to see vulnerable people in our country suffer. So that's why we're here, not for any other reason, really.
Okay.
Where can we see them?
We're live now on YouTube. Yeah, Resistance GB.
Okay.
That's okay. Thank you, guys.
I'm like a psychologist.
Hello Sean, hello Ruth, hello to our wonderful mods and everyone in the chat. We've got a big crowd on the other side. Alright. Where's together? I'm not sure where they are. They need to get down a bit earlier, but I've got a bit of an adventure today. Meant to be going down to cover the solstice. Hello there, how's it going?
Fine as usual. How are you?
Not too bad. Do you want to speak a little bit on the stream? So what's wrong with the bill then?
Everything is wrong with it. Because if you're sick and somebody's looking after you, you're dealing what you're dealing with, and you're worrying about because this is evil beyond evil. I can understand. They want license to kill people. They've been killing people all their lives with the food or whatever damn thing, and pretending. But no, stop pretending because. And you're telling us, we put you there, you should be working for us. Instead of that, you're killing us. And you're getting your wages.
They do get a lot of wages in there.
Taxpayers' wages. They can't look after you, but they could spend money to kill people, billions to kill people everywhere. Nurses going to put back in the richest country in the world. I am ashamed. Totally ashamed.
Are you worried about this considering what they did with all the jabs and everything?
Listen, that was the starting point. But it started long before that. Because they're so evil. They have not a good thought in their head. They don't know how to. But I've got news for them. Gladiators belong to all of us.
Thank you.
You take care.
Thank you. Hello there. May I ask what brings you out here today then?
To hope that the MPs don't vote against assisted suicide. I don't think the guidelines are securely.
Sorry,
Sorry,
you're
sorry.
very quiet. Sorry.
To say no to assisted suicide. I just don't feel that the guidelines are strong enough. And as a Christian, I don't agree with it anyway, so that's why I'm out here.
So what are some of the specific issues with the guidelines then?
Okay, so one is that people don't need to tell their families that they're going to die, which is quite traumatic. Another one is the judge doesn't need to sign off.
The judge doesn't sign off?
For each case. Yeah, that was one of the amendments that was going to be mentioned.
And they've got rid of that?
Yeah.
So no judge has to sign it at all?
No. So there's lots of different amendments that have been changed that would have protected the vulnerable, and they haven't been voted on. So it's not just the terminally ill. It could be somebody who's depressed, or somebody who feels that they're a burden to society, which I just feel is opening up the doors to heartache and pain for a lot of people. And I do understand other people's points of view with critically ill people, but it's not just going to be for them. If you look at Canada, loads of different people like the disabled who've assisted suicide and things like that.
Thank you. Where can people find out more? And this is No Way Back.
I don't know whether there is. That's why I think we shouldn't vote it in.
Thank you. What brings you out here today then?
Well, I'm very concerned about the way this is going. It seems to me as if the people who consider themselves progressive are actually on the side of destruction and not on the side of helping the most vulnerable.
Because they're going to kill a lot of extra people, would you say?
Yes, I'm afraid that it will start off by being your choice and it will end up as a default system for anyone who is sick or disabled or who has not the capacity to consent or refuse. I hate to use the Nazi words, but that's how it could end up.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Vote no! Vote no! Vote no! Vote yes! Vote yes!
Hello, we're Dr. Mengele here. Oh, is it okay can I interview you away from all of the crowd? Do you mind if I jump to?
Hang on, mate, and let me put it put this away. Hello?
Hello, Doctor. So, what brings you out here today, then?
We're out here to euthanize people. We're out here to euthanize people who are poor. We're out here to euthanize people who are not desirable, people who are ill, people who are disabled.
Can we euthanize the politicians?
No, of course not, because a lot of them are on our side.
Ah. So, what are the problems with the bill, then?
Problems with the bill? Well, I mean, the problem is with assisted suicide as a whole. I mean, it originates from eugenic ideas and it is about putting down people in society. And the fact is, this bill doesn't have appropriate safeguards. It's got things like, I mean, Kim Leadbeater herself voted against an amendment that would protect anorexic people from having assisted suicide. And it's horrific, and these are the first little bits that show what this bill could become and what this bill and bills similar to it have become in other culturally similar countries like Canada. It is steps towards treating people as simply economic output. You know, if you are not useful anymore, if you are not fit anymore, if you're not healthy anymore, we may as well kill you. It's far cheaper. Yeah, the whole process is mental.
So you're worried that people who are going to be depressed, people who might be upset for that moment, are going to be pushed into it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the nature of the slippery slope. We've seen it everywhere else. And the nature of laws like this are that people who are struggling and people who aren't thinking rationally will be encouraged to do this and probably won't have the rational thinking to say no.
So how could this bill be amended to make it slightly better then?
It couldn't. I mean, the whole concept of assisted suicide is something that always gets worse. I mean, we've never seen anywhere where it's not got worse. We've never seen anywhere where people haven't been doing this because they feel like burdens. You can't amend it to make it better. The whole idea of assisted suicide is something broken, will never work.
Rightio. Well,
there you go.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Can I get some happy pills, Doctor?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh my God, he's actually got pills for me. He's actually got pills for me. Have you got a licence to be handing these out? What are these, paracetamol?
Ibuprofen, 39p from Tesco's.
Oh, the hard stuff, the hard stuff. Hello, hello. Not too bad. Do you guys want to jump on? Hello.
Leslie.
Hello. Not too bad. Do you know who's jumping on first then? Oh, come on. We've got the whole gang here. Hello. with your favourite podcast guest? Excellently. Honestly, that's an amazing podcast. Do you want to? Who's going to speak first? Go on.
Can we all speak together as a little firm? And I'll say something. You say
All speak together.
All right, yeah, go on. Come on, come here, John.
John's got a sister who's down syndrome.
So then it starts. We're outside Parliament. I've got to be honest, it is looking close, but I want to say thank you to everyone that's sent an email or called their MP around this. You know, really what it's going to be is to recalibrate the relationship between the state and citizen, to be able to kill citizens. 41% of the public think palliative care is assisted suicide. We haven't had a proper debate. MPs don't know the seriousness of this, many of them. Some of them do, and you know, you got to give credit. I give credit to people that I really disagree with on a lot of issues. You know, I think that, you know, Dawn Butler and Diane Abbott, I think they've been tremendous on this. Rachel Clark, an arch enemy during lockdown, brilliant, right? And this is what's so mad, but exciting, but also concerning about this climate where these things get thrown up. But right now, there's no word compassion in this bill. And we've just seen NC16, an amendment. I don't want to sound like a train spotter, but the idea that you've got to have mental aptitude to make a decision has been knocked out of the game. So you've got a whole situation where all these so-called safeguards are not even in place. We've seen what some of the people in here and some of the people who were in so-called opposition in here did over the last few years. We were told the science, the medicine, the doctors, we're all telling, it's terrifying, right? That imminently the state and the NHS that was meant to preserve life, everyone clapping, yes, and it suddenly could be a situation where we've got 7 million waiting lists, not enough beds. Tell you what, wallop, get out. Coffin dodgers, net zero, all you old lot are a burden, the generation wars, the disabled, the old, but us. Our views, how about that's no good, you end up in there, brown bread, do not resuscitate. I'm not being flippant, it's life or death. And we should keep making sure our MPs hear from us. We need to keep campaigning. This just goes to show there's a load of things that are happening right now that we need our attention on. And let's all do this together. We've got to stand together.
Okay, who's next? I've already introduced this guy. He's raring to go.
Who's next? Come on, quick. Fucking get on with it.
Alright, that's it, Monty. You're in for the chop. What's it going to be? Hanging, beheading, electric chair, lethal injection.
No, I was just talking to Alan about...
Oh, your 80% idea.
Well, he was higher. He was at 90.
Oh, 90.
In terms of majorities in
we'll never have a vote on anything. It's got to be 90%.
Yeah, but do you really want the government to do anything?
Yeah, but do you want them to be able to overturn this kind of shit?
Yeah. I don't trust the government with having this in their power.
The next one needs to be able to get it out.
But that's why what we should have is courts and juries, right?
Oh, you can't trust them.
But then you have to be judges. If you've got judges making decisions, we need political power for the people,
But,
right?
yeah, which is juries, because guilt or innocence is determined by juries, the greatest power in society.
But not on every political issue. It shouldn't be courts deciding what we do. This is the problem in America. We need to have our sovereignty, our assertion. This is our land. Everyone's ended up forgetting that. And we need to reassert ourselves. As it happens, in spite of this, I'm quite confident right now. 670 new councillors. Reform might not be everyone's cup of tea, but if you look at some of the things they're saying they're going to do, if they do them, that will cut across a lot of stuff. But we've got to put pressure on everyone to get the things we want to see done. I'm going to stop talking. We've got Claire Craig here as well. Dr. Claire Craig, we've got Monty and Mark and Leslie.
I feel like I've seen you somewhere before.
Oh, have you? Yeah.
Somewhere? So why are you out here then?
So I'm out here as a doctor, but my real point is that we have moral red lines in a civil society that you do not cross, and that you don't cross them even when there are heart-wrenching cases, because that's why there is a red line, because people want to cross it. You don't cross it because it will always lead to deterioration. That's what we've seen in Canada, the slippery slope with killing. And you don't kill, and doctors for sure shouldn't be killing. We saw first do no harm overturned in COVID and informed consent and bodily autonomy, and now they're coming for doctors killing people. It's madness.
Do you want to tell people a little bit more about what happened in Canada?
Yeah, so in Canada they've had this legislation for a while, and it's got to a really extreme state. So even by 2021, 3% of deaths were assisted deaths with doctor involved, and that's gone up since then as well. And it went from having kind of sort of safeguards where you might start thinking that you were aiming at particular people to being broadened out more and more. We've got to a situation where when people are in hospital, they're being harangued to have it. And people who have said specifically that they are too poor for pain relief, and then they go and say, well, that's an adequate reason to kill them. It's just outrageous.
Wonderful. And where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter at Claire Craig Path, and I'm on heartgroup.org.
Thank you, Dr. Claire Craig.
Do I get a go?
No, I don't like the look of you. You look dodgy. Yeah, you're not him. Not him. Don't like him.
Hi, I'm here for many reasons, but mostly because I've got a daughter who has Down syndrome, and I'm really, really worried that she is vulnerable. That if I won't always be there to protect her, and if this bill passes, someone could suggest death to her and she could be killed before I even knew about it, and that absolutely terrifies me.
Yeah, because I heard from one of the other people I was interviewing that there's no measure to say the families must be informed.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's no amendments were proposed to protect people with Down syndrome and learning disabilities, but they were all overturned at the committee stage. So there is no protection for people with learning disabilities under this bill. Their families don't even have to be involved.
But how would someone with severe mental issues be able to give informed consent?
Well, there's a presumption of consent under the bill. If they don't say otherwise, I mean, who knows? Who knows? I mean, already there's lots and lots of instances under COVID and so on of people with Down syndrome getting unequal health care, being passed over, not having their views listened to. They're very, very vulnerable. They cannot speak for themselves. And the bill doesn't allow anyone to speak for them.
Is this a cost-cutting measure?
Probably, yeah, 100%. My daughter costs the state a lot of money. And people with disabilities and illnesses cost the state a lot of money. Assisted suicide is going to be cheap if it passes, which I hope it won't.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Where can people find out more?
I'm just a normal person. My name's Karen Lawrence. I've got a website. I'm a writer, KarenLawrenceAuthor.com. I'm writing a book about a future dystopian England with a one-child policy and lots of euthanasia as well.
Oh, wow.
So there you go.
Oh,
coming out by the end of the year.
You're prophesying the
It's called
future.
The Last Midwife, yep.
Do I need to cross your palm with silver in order to get this book?
Thank you.
That's okay.
John, who's got a sister with Down syndrome as well, so similar.
Okay, just give me 1 second. It is hot today.
I've got to say a few words. I mean, we need to do an interview with Claire.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
So you are John?
I am John, hello. I am here today. I've travelled from the south coast to be part of this protest because I have a sister who has Downs, and when she was born, actually a few weeks after, she had to have a major stomach operation, and the doctors actually asked my parents at the time, they said, do you want us to resuscitate her if there's any problems? And there was the question right there, and my parents said, of course, it's our daughter, do everything you can, but that's without any legislation. And so this is going to be a slippery slope, and it's a nightmare for anybody who has disabilities. How long will it be before your number's up and your life's not deemed worth living? It's a terrible thing. The elderly will be afraid to go to hospital. They'll think if I go in, there's a good chance I'll be part of the euthanasia program, and so they'll be holding out at home, desperate not to go in. I think it's a terrible thing. And I think for societies to sanction legalised killing of people, it's going to be a slippery slope. We saw this with the Nazis, who had death wagons or euthanasia wagons that did visit asylums and the sick and the vulnerable, and they had posters saying that the sick and the vulnerable were a burden to society. And I think this is a slippery step in that direction, and I think it should not be passed at all. And I worry for people who are vulnerable in this country being pressured into having to give their life because it would just be a burden to someone, it would cost the state more or their family more. Also, I can envision situations where people who are vulnerable, where people are abusive, threatening them, saying if you don't behave we'll get you euthanized. And I can see in other situations the vulnerable and those who aren't mentally fully capable will be coerced into actually giving their life. And so I think it should definitely be stopped. It's a slippery slope, and I don't think that the government has any right in choosing when people die, and I think it's something that's really should be resisted and stopped, and I hope to pray today it's not passed for the sake of my sister and many others who are out there. So that's it. But I had to come, and here I am. So I pray and hope this will work today. And I think I've heard that some of the backbenchers their consciences are waking up. And the other thing I'll say is this: making the law by the exception is always known as making bad law. If you make law for the exceptions, you make bad law. And if they're going to do this based on the exceptions of a few people, you will put millions and millions of people's lives in danger. And that's exceptional law makes bad law. So that's what I'll say. So I hope they make the right decision today and protect life. And shouldn't we not be investing in drugs that actually help cure, you know, rather than in drugs that are going to take life? Why not invest in research that helps cure illnesses? There are many illnesses today that at one time were incurable, and we would euthanize them, but now we have cures. So invest in research, invest in health, invest in life. That's what I would say.
What if we have an amendment and the amendment is just to euthanize the politicians? So we make it okay for the politicians?
No.
Would you support it? Go on.
No.
I'm not tempting you?
No, definitely. But
just imagine Keir Starmer, like he's getting tired of all the opinion polls.
No.
He's depressed.
No.
Lord Ali's not answering all his calls. His Ukrainian boyfriends, you know, who've been thrown in prison after trying to burn down his house.
No, I think as bad as anyone is, I think they still have the power to turn. No, I don't believe that. But yeah, I think let's just pray there's a change and a change of heart. And I think there's a lot of people here today. They represent a lot more people who couldn't come today. And I hope that they take note that it's not a one-sided thing, that there are many people out there. Many people would be here today, but they can't. But I'm fortunate I can. But I know there'd be a lot more here if they could. So, yeah.
Right, dear. Thank you very much, John.
Jesus Christ, and you shall be saved.
Hello, how's it going, man? Not seen you in ages.
Been a bit quiet, haven't I?
Yep.
How you doing? I watch your GB stuff. It's brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Oh, did you see our Claire Craig one?
I've been watching you say with Kate Shemirani. You did a great thing. I was trying to find that, and the police raided it, didn't they? And had to go to another. You had to go to another place.
No, it was the so-called Antifa who went after us.
Yeah,
They were terrible.
Warriors.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we just think COVID's finished, and now we're going for the next fight.
Yep.
Yeah, so keep your eye coming on. Keep your eye on Israel and a full cyber attack and a mind control thing coming now. That's the next stage. They're moving fast. This is all part of the Bilderberg 25 agenda, depopulation.
Do you want to jump on?
I want to be discreet though, because I had a few threats against me, because I went against sort of certain Masonic powers.
Could you do me a favour? Could you hold this for 1 second whilst I'm on the spot? If that's okay?
Yeah. No, I had a few. I identified a few people, and it got a bit hairy for my kid.
Wow.
And a threatening phone call. So, because I went to the heart of the cabal, Black Rock, and I pulled him out, you know, and then I was basically told back off. So I operate underhand. You know, I'm not as brave as Kate. I wish I was, but I know the agenda, you know.
I think more and more people are waking up.
Well, people like you, Will, you do a great job. You honestly do.
Oh, thank you.
No, you do. You're a great guy. I remember you from the Brexit days into COVID. But don't rest now. We're getting with the assault coming now, man. Oh my gosh! They're taking down the whole cyber attack, blaming on Iran, martial law. So when you look at those signs in London, you know, the 15 minutes, that's not there for an accident. That is when they lock us down, and we eventually can move 15 minutes because there's going to be some kind of false flag coming. There is something called 2010. Have a look it up. Operation Blackjack.
Well,
you heard about
with all the ULEZ cameras, it gives them the infrastructure, doesn't it?
It does. Everything's all set up, ready to go.
It basically gives them the infrastructure that they need, so that if they do want to say, oh, you can't travel this distance from home, they can do it. Or, I think the easiest way is not to put a hard limit, right? Because hard limits...
That's only the final
will get people to, hard limits get people to rebel. What you want to do is you want to say, okay, if you go 1 minute over, that's an extra £1.
Yeah.
2 minutes over, that's an extra £1. And so what you do, it's survivable. It's like, oh, well, you can go over, you can, go as far as you need to go.
Yeah.
But it's going to cost you. It's like when they had the Islamic conquest, they had the jizya, didn't they?
Yeah.
So it's like anyone who's subjugated under Islam, but who's not a Muslim, it's like, oh yeah, fine, you don't have to be a Muslim. Except you've got to pay twice the tax of everyone else.
Like in the days of Caesar, where they had to pay the duty to the emperor and they had to put the hand on there, and the Christians refused and said, "Oh, unfortunately, we're going to have to kill you, because you don't give allegiance to the emperor." And so many died, in that persecution phase. So
a few were fed to the lions in the Colosseum. I mean, I think that Colosseum is chronically underused, considering how many people we've got in the World Economic Forum.
You know what? What I found out again, is you cannot protest in the city. Okay, you cannot go near Blackrock, or if you go to Berkeley Square, that's Blackstone. That's the heart of the cabal. You've got to go to the money. Because what they're bringing in is this economic system. So BlackRock is buying up all the housing in the UK because for your generation, you won't be owning anything. You'll be renting. And then suddenly they control the corporations and you don't agree with the agenda in the market. You ain't got a job.
They can literally just buy England out from under us.
Yeah, well, that's what Keir Starmer saw it. And that's why I've got a bit of trouble, really. So I'll go underground a bit and I'll come back. But I know what's coming. So all this is in Thessalonians 2. So God gives them a strong delusion. See what I mean? Strong. He blinds them. So they're all saying you can go and kill. But what he's really doing, you're handing your rights over to the state.
Yeah. I wish you were on camera for this. People can hear you though. They can hear what you're saying.
So that you can sort of prompt people. But what if we go to Bilderberg 25? Option 10 was the depopulation and migration agenda. And so they want wars. There's a nuclear war coming. Depopulation through this. Oh, my granny's ill with cancer. To moving to, you know what? You're a bit of a useless eater. You don't contribute. We've got the right over you to the mark of the beast system. These guys are so evil. I can't comprehend the evil in this parliament. But God wins.
Okay. Here's a question.
Yeah, go on.
Euthanasia, but only for the politicians.
You know what? In my head I'd say yes. In my heart I said let God be the judge. Because even in the Old Testament, the Manasseh was one of the final kings of Israel, and he was so evil the country fell. And only when he was chained and taken to Babylon and chained to the wall did he appeal to God. Look what I've done. I repent, and God forgave him. The forgiveness of Manasseh. So
Was it Saint Sebastian who was the one who was persecuting the Christians but then became a Christian?
St. Paul was walking to Damascus to begin the murder of the Christians. God woke him. So I agree. In my head, my heart, I think, I go against God because there may be one or two of those at the end times. God said, "No, I'm going to use you." Others, He's given over. He's almost given them over. He said, "The Bible's incredible, and you've got to read it, man. It's all playing out."
Well, the thing is, I said to myself, I'm trying to sort of leave some of it because whenever I'm in a cell, sometimes they get fussy with you, and the only thing they'll give you is a Bible, even though they've got a big stock of books.
Yeah.
Although one time I went in, I said, "I'll take a book, please," and they went, "We have books." I'm like, Jesus Christ, what's your customer service like in this establishment? Yeah. The food's terrible, the bedding's terrible.
Don't touch that food, you know what they put in it, man.
They'll starve you.
I remember you at the COVID one, you were back there, and you were filming, and they because I was near you, and I saw there was a guy on one of our groups, I got him as MI6, it was a guy who always pretended to be a trucker, and he was always no shirt, and he appointed you, and I watched it, and you were thrown to the ground, and I remember that during the COVID demos.
But they haven't put me in a cell too much recently, so they're ruining my Bible studies.
You know what, Daniel? Daniel's brilliant. Because Jesus says to the disciples, what do we need to know before the end of times? When you come back, he said, read Daniel. He's telling you, go to Daniel. If you get Daniel, you get Revelation. Here's something, the 10 horns in the book of Revelation are the 10 kingdoms. That comes from the UN Montefiore Plan of 1968.
Can I give you one riposte from the Bible?
Yep.
One of the last things that Jesus says to his disciples is, sell your cloak, buy a sword.
Yes.
Do we not need to, sell our cloaks and buy swords in this day and age?
Good point. I go to Ephesians 6, which is put the full armour of God on. Put the full armour of God. Don't go in a battle unarmed. So have the word of Scripture and have God with you. So you're coming in here to take on the spirits. Because in the occult, Satan has to give you what he's going to do. If you reject it, you can pull back. But if you acquiesce, and that's what happened. The church weakened, people weakened. Last few years, I've done so much research into the whole you know, the Khazarian Mafia, the MK Ultra mind control, the Freemasonic influence in the entertainment industry, everything. It's fucking. It does my head in. Sometimes I feel very lonely.
Sometimes you got to take a break. I'm going down to the solstice tonight.
Are you? Oh yes.
Yep.
Oh my god.
I don't think I'm going to be able to
you
live
just hit me,
stream.
man.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing it. It's the solstice of the cold day. Oh, by the way, if you can do Esther Ransom, by the way.
Esther Ransom?
She's part of. No, she isn't here, but she's expose her because she's pushed this forward, saying she was dying, and 2 years later I'm not really dying, but she was the nice auntie of that. But I've done a research into Childline, you know, BBC. That is to go to the abused homes and take the kids, vulnerable kids, to the paedophile network. She's right behind it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's huge.
Okay.
That's when it gets dangerous.
Right, I need to grab a drink. What I might do is it okay if I leave this here with you? I'll just pop it down.
Yeah,
I'm literally.
I've got to get back to work, but how long are you be?
This is 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah,
I'm going to run to Tesco's and back.
Sorry?
Okay, guys, running for some water. See you in a second.
Am I taking a photo of us? Thank you very much. Yeah, 2 years ago. On the front line. I've got a board. Yeah. Loads. Oh yeah.
There is no dignity in killing yourself. We talk about dignity in death when you kill yourself. There is no dignity in anyone who kills himself. God is angry. Yes. God loves us.
No worries. Good luck.
We need to repent. The Christians need to repent. The church needs to repent. We need to repent. The Christians need to
Will's asked me to look after his camera, but I've got to get back to a meeting. Would you be okay just to stand by that?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Just tell him Tim said sorry. I had to pick up our phone. Is that all right?
No worries, man. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, have we been behaving ourselves?
Yeah, no, I was watching it.
I don't know what they're saying in the
said
chat.
Sorry, he had to go.
That's alright. Alright, we've got a decent amount of power on this. Let's see.
I'm going to do some drumming over there.
Oh, wow, this is a hot day. Alright, 61%. We'll keep going. Okay, ladies and gents. One of those days. T-shirts come off. Yep. Ooh. Bloody bacon.
Or as the Mirror said yesterday, blowtorch Britain. The bacon's laugh.
Alright, are you jumping on for a second?
No, I never jump on them. You never see me go on anything. So it's like, yeah, I'm invisible. Bloody working in the media, so I'm trying to know. I just encourage everybody else.
Okay, I'll run round, I'll grab some interviews then.
Yeah, do that. Can I give you these? Are you here with me?
Yeah. Resistance GB.
Okay.
Do you want to speak?
No, I'm just here to do press. But if you'd like to speak to, they're from Humanist UK, might have my decision.
Yeah,
if you want to speak to somebody.
Yeah, who would you like to?
They are not here at the moment, but they're going to be around in a bit, so I can come and grab you later. Yeah, does that work?
Okay. Alright.
On this day I have been
Alright there. So what brings you out here today then?
The bill that's being spoken about in the House of Parliament.
So what are some of the problems with the bill?
I think the main problem is that it assumes that we have the authority to choose when to end a life of a human being, and I don't believe we do. I believe that is something that only God can give. He gives life, He takes life away. That's not ours to choose, that's His to choose.
Are you afraid that this is going to kill a lot more people than they say it will?
Oh, definitely. We've seen it happen in Canada. It will happen here too. It just goes through. You can never, and even actually speaking to some of the opposition today, they were saying, yeah, you can't protect everyone. There's always going to be coercion. They just said, I said, is that something that you are okay with? Like, is that a sacrifice you're willing to make? And they said yes.
Wow. And do you want to talk about some of the amendments that have been shot down?
I haven't actually had full visibility of what's been happening. I've been quite tied up in also looking at the pro-life side for what happened on Tuesday. So I've not been able to keep up with everything.
Right, yeah.
Just the very core of the bill, I believe, is just completely wrong.
Yeah. And what about you, lovely? Is this your sister, by the way?
No. Well, in Christ, really. I've come because I believe in the right to life, and life is important, and it's not our right to take life. And I don't think it's our right to put pressure on medics to take life. My husband died a not very nice death with multiple sclerosis. I know what it's like to suffer. But it's not the answer, and I think the safeguards are not safe. But even the principle isn't right. Yes, we can help somebody who is suffering greatly to suffer less, but we don't have the right. And it puts pressure. It puts pressure on the struggling patient, it puts pressure on the family, and it is just a wrong attitude of society. I believe in life, and we need to proclaim life in this nation, and not say, let's proclaim death. Premature death, when we're not ready for it. God takes us in His time. We shouldn't decide when that time is.
Okay, one quick question. What about euthanasia, but only for the politicians?
That's an evil question. It's not right in any way, any shape or form. We take responsibility for our own lives, but that does not mean that we take our lives. It's a God-given gift.
And for you? So, quick proposal, euthanasia, but only for the politicians.
I care for everyone, and I would not wish death on anyone. So,
not even Keir Starmer.
I think God has grace for all, so we need to tell them the gospel. We need to tell them how they can come to Christ and be saved and repent from this. But I don't believe that it's ours to take vengeance. That's in the hand of the Lord.
Okay, thank you very much. One second. I am melting. Let's do a battery change. Is the connection okay, everyone? If you'd be so kind as to let me know, that would be useful. Fantastic connection. Thank you. Wonderful. Oh, by the way, anyone who wants to support us on Patreon so that we can run multiple signals, we're running both EE and Vodafone today so we can keep a strong signal. It might have dipped a little bit whilst I ran off for water because I realised Vodafone was still in my pocket. I'm running 2 signals to keep it nice. If you want to support us for the cost of that, we've got Patreon, and we also now have PayPal as well. So if someone wants to stick our new PayPal link, you can find it. It should be in our new podcast yesterday, and also it is on our link tree, which you can find on our Twitter. And yep, make sure to repost our stuff on Twitter, get as much generation. That brings people over to YouTube. I believe, though, we have a man of the cloth. You right there, Minister? Would it be okay to interview you at all?
I'm not great at interviews. Who is it? Who
you can deliver a sermon, but you can't speak to a camera. You can speak to a congregation from a pulpit.
I have 3 days to prepare. Who are you with?
Resistance GB, my name's Will.
Hi there, yeah.
So, what has brought you out here today then?
Just to add my prayers and voice to hopefully killing the bill, hopefully not that this doesn't pass, for many reasons.
So what are some of those reasons? Do you want to run through them?
There's so many reasons. I think one reason is we don't know what's going to happen with this. We don't know. In opening Pandora's box, you don't know what's happening. And perhaps an example from a different case of Christian I was speaking to, whose disabled son is now about 50. When she was giving birth, she was numerous times she was offered an abortion. And she said what a great shame it would be if I didn't have the light of Simon in my life, that 50-year-old man with disability. So I think the same with this assisted suicide. We don't know what will be released when we don't prioritise the care for the disabled and the sick, and what pain could happen, and what neglect could happen, and what loneliness in disabilities and sickness could happen because of this bill. Yeah.
And are you worried seeing what's happened in Canada?
Yeah, I'm worried in Canada. I've heard in Canada that there was a Catholic hospice that had to shut down because the doctors there and the nurses wouldn't perform euthanasia. So there's many implications, and one is those of conscience. Will their conscience be held? Will they allow not to perform euthanasia? Doctors and nurses that don't agree with it. And I think they might have removed that clause in the bill today. So it's a great worry. Yeah.
And what about some of the amendments that they voted down as well?
I haven't kept track of all of them, but I think one of them was the conscience of doctors and nurses. So a doctor or a nurse could be presented with, you lose your job, your income, or you euthanise my auntie or my grandmother. So that's a very worrying one. Yeah.
And do you think you need to see more church ministers? Because you're the only one I can see down here in your robes and dog collar.
Well, I'm sure I know many church ministers, priests and bishops are praying and concerned about this bill. So I'm joining them in prayer and witness today as well. Yeah.
And may I ask, which denomination are you?
Yes, I'm a Catholic priest.
Aha.
Yeah.
So, can I ask, in terms of healthcare, you talked about trying to support people who are disabled. Do you think the church needs to do more? Because originally hospitals were religious institutions.
Yeah, the church does. Still, there's many in my congregation that are doctors and nurses. Many throughout the world. I think the Catholic Church is the main medical provider. So it's still very much active in that role.
But just not over here as much, it's more in the third world.
Well, I think still, when I walk into hospitals, I'm nearly always greeted by a nurse or a doctor who's Catholic. So I think they're very much present. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Not very slick, but something.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Good.
Very powerful.
For Give Send Go, I think you need to be an official charity. Yes?
There you go. Hang on. Is it hard? I can't even. I can't use it. I've just realised because I'm using the SD in my.
Do you need to have that in?
Yeah, because I'm transferring off it.
How long?
Exactly. 15 minutes, and I've got 9%.
Turn the brightness right down, put it on power saving mode,
Of course.
and close the screen. So the screen's taking up most of the power.
I know, but I don't know if I close that, it's going to start. I'll turn that down. It's fine. No, well, let's hope it makes. But after I might need to charge my phone. Thank you. Rory's in his Christian element.
Where is it?
Down there drumming on the fucking thing.
Go on. So what's going on here today?
So today we're at the assisted dying demonstration against assisted dying. My thing around assisted dying is we still talk about lockdown, and the reason we still talk about it is because that's not been properly justified. There's still not been any proper scrutiny, and lockdown set a precedent which is the cause of assisted dying in terms of this dangerous legislation. This doesn't safeguard the vulnerable, it's not about freedom, it's giving the state the ability to kill. And even if you feel like, in principle, that's a good idea and you want the state to have that ability, the way that this bill is being pushed through, rushed, and the public are not being consulted, and they're not being properly consulted, the people inside Parliament don't even know what's happening with this bill. That's not democracy, that's not proper legislation, that's not safe. We don't trust our government. Why would we, especially with the history they have for the past 5 years of lockdowns, the jab, and so forth. I wouldn't trust the government at all, especially in regards to giving them the ability to kill. It's insane.
Here's a question though.
Oh, well, what?
Euthanasia,
Yeah.
but only for the politicians.
No, I'm not even. I'll bring in my Christian principles. Maybe 5 years ago, when I wasn't a Christian, I would have said hang them all. But I believe in forgiveness. I believe that there is always a path of redemption, and if we play them at their own game, then we're no better.
I'm going to do like a nice little edit on that. Monty Tom's hang them all.
No, all right.
We all heard what he said.
No. I never said that. I don't believe that. He said that. Yeah. You got 500,000 views for saying that.
No, I simply said that if I were in charge, I would be hanging them in accordance with law.
Right. If you say so. What do others think? You should interview Laura Goldsworth. Brilliant.
Okay.
Absolutely brilliant.
I recognise that name.
Yeah. She's spoken it together. She's absolutely brilliant.
Oh, okay. Then I shall.
She was excellent. Especially, she wrote the book around nudge theory.
Oh, State of
Fear. Yeah.
Fear.
That's it.
Oh, wonderful.
Podcast worthy.
Oh.
If you can, though, I'm not sure you would be able to.
I'll ask.
You could try.
Should I do up my shirt some more, or should I keep it open? Is that going to lure in all the guests, or is it going to...
Try. They're in a debate about abortion.
That's why you wanted to do an interview with me.
It's true, yeah. It's true. It's my homosexual tendencies. Again, joke, okay? Don't cut that. Don't use that. I'm not a homosexual.
Methinks the activist does protest too much.
You're dangerous. I don't like journalists. I don't care if they're freedom journalists or what. You're all nasty.
What, like you, for UK Column?
I'm not a nasty journalist for UK Column.
You're still a freedom journalist.
And I'm not a journalist, okay?
What, you're a propagandist for UK Column?
No, I dabble in journalism, but that's not my main forte.
You dabble?
I dabble.
You dabble in the dark arts?
Yeah. This is not going to work. 24 hours is not going to work. I can't do it. I'm going to have to. In fact, just get Rory on.
Okay, go on. Let's get Rory on now.
Because Rory's really good at it. Ask him why he's drumming today. Well, why is
it good? Not too bad. I've been... You know you love it. You know you love it. Alright, this is peak physical performance, Doc.
No, I'm impressed.
Right, I've been sent over here specifically to stop you from drumming.
Really?
Yeah, so I've got to interview you now.
It wasn't me.
Oh, it was it was terrible.
You can tell he's a
horrible,
journalist,
dodgy guy. He was saying that you got to hang a load of people.
I really wasn't.
And he was saying about he's a homosexual or something.
You are the worst journalist I've actually encountered. Don't follow Will. Don't listen to Will. He's crooked. Works for the BBC. He's controlled op.
Where's my Soros money? So I have to interview you to stop you drumming. So why are you out here today?
I mean, do you want to give my? Because obviously, I work for Together, but you know.
Yeah, do your thing.
So I'm here today because I feel like this is an attack on the most vulnerable in society. Even if you agree with assisted suicide in principle, which there's many philosophical questions you could argue there. This bill isn't safe. We struggle to keep people alive, let alone kill them. How is this going to be done safely? People in cancer treatments, people on waiting lists, like. How are we in a position at all to bring this in, even if you agree with it? And you've already seen the loophole. Kim Levy in a recent Sky interview with an atrocious answer when a Telegraph journalist spoke about the anorexia loophole, her saying they would die anyway, that it's pretty much anorexia person can't get assisted dying, not convincing at all. So I think, should I just go on? I don't know how much but this is about how we value life in society, and whether we like it or not. The classic example: if you see a guy on a bridge about to kill himself, you don't say, "Oh wait, mate, it's your choice. Knock yourself out." You go and help there because we do value life in some degree. What happens to Samaritans? What happens to suicide charities? Are they, are they going over people's body autonomy? People with, as Robert Jenrick says, with demons in their heads, go around each day. This is just the slow erosion of so many people who suffer up and down the UK. I think it's 15 people a day kill themselves in the UK, and this is just going to send us like a stark signal to those people who deal with that every day. And we need to be a life affirming society, and we need to reject this bill because it's not safe. And even if you support it in principle, how the hell is this going to be done safely when we can't even keep people alive safely? And you've seen with COVID, do not resuscitate orders put on Down syndrome people with disabilities. In the UK, you can abort a Down syndrome baby up until birth. There's different rights based on if you're disabled or not. So right now we have unfair policies in place, and we think that when we murder people, somehow there's going to be this radical equality. It's complete madness. Yeah, so that's why I'm against the bill.
Is it a cost-saving measure?
I think it could be a cost-saving measure. I think it could save the taxpayer loads of money. I think the same with benefits. I think the same with loads of things. But I think a state is there for one thing: protection of life, and also the notion that this is a choice as well. If you look at Oregon, because a lot of the places don't publish data around the reasons people do get assisted dying. Assisted dying in pain is not even given in the top five reasons why someone even picks this. So the places where it is introduced, the myths that people do it because, I'm dying in pain. That's not true. They do it because they're a burden. Recent study, 53% of people chose it because they felt like a burden. So if the majority of people are getting it because they feel like a burden, you've got to ask yourself, should this be allowed? And it's not a choice. People are coerced into doing it.
So here's a quick question for you. What about euthanasia, but only for the politicians?
No. They're people, they got family and kids, wife, daughters, sons.
You want to talk about burdens?
I think they're love your enemies. There's terrific people on both sides. There's good people there.
How many? We've got
we should kill people.
We've got like 640 birds, and this is one stone.
I don't support killing MPs personally. I think that's terrible.
All I heard there was I support killing MPs. Did you not hear that? No, it's a joke again.
I think that's a horrendous route to go down. Yeah.
For the MPs?
No, we shouldn't murder MPs. Right? That's crazy.
I didn't say murder.
What did you say?
I said euthanasia, assisted dying.
What? That is murder, but yeah, I don't think we should euthanize MPs. No.
Man. Everyone's really hardcore here today.
No, we're all called nice people, okay, who love thy neighbour and who, we're not all Christians.
Sell thy cloak and buy a sword.
Personally, I am a Christian. However, I'm not coming at this from a Christian perspective, actually. That's part of it, obviously, but it's the principle of it. It's giving the state the ability to kill. That's just non-negotiable. That just shouldn't be the case. Do I think we should kill MPs? No. Everybody deserves a fair trial, as Will would say.
Yep.
Everyone deserves respect and tolerance and innocent until proven guilty. And
what
if they
if
are
they're
proven
proven
guilty,
guilty,
which I knew that was your next question, no, they should not be killed. No, never.
And can I just say, I don't agree with the death penalty. I mean, one, from a religious point of view, but even just a philosophical point of view, if you're okay with the death penalty, you have to be okay that innocent people will die. And you can say, oh, well, we'll make sure. In places where it's introduced, it's like 1 to 3% of people who do die from the state are wrongly killed. So therefore, you have to be okay, whether you like or not, with some innocent people dying for the guilty who will die. And I'm not okay with that.
That's like saying if we have a prison system, some innocent people are going to be locked up, and those are people going to end up committing suicide, like Peter Lynch, and dying.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference in prison killing someone.
I mean, prison might tip people over the edge, and they might die.
Yeah, it's reversible. Kill it. So you for the
not
death
always.
penalty, you're for the death penalty.
Yeah.
So you're libertarian, but you're for the state.
Liberal.
Right.
Yeah,
how does that work? I mean, it's a complete contradiction.
Because I think we've got a right to self-defence. I don't want to be forced to pay for politicians to rot in prison. Why should I pay for them? They've already stolen enough money from me. Look, if other people if they want to do a crowdfunder and they want to donate to these politicians,
this is actually going to go out.
This is live.
Did your ancestors fought in the war?
I didn't realise it was live.
Your ancestors fought in the war.
Right.
They killed people.
So, so I don't think we should kill MPs.
But I mean, if the MPs have killed, tens of thousands, and really, I'm looking
so
more.
We should just kill them, just murder. Yeah, that's a great.
No,
great
fair
solution.
trial.
Yeah.
I believe in fair trial, man.
So what?
Innocent until proven guilty.
I didn't realise we were live. Hang on, I'm gonna check.
I'm reading the comments actually. This is quite interesting.
They must fucking hate me. I've got to see this.
Where's the chat on this? Where's the chat? Do you believe in the death sentence for people who commit treason? This is the question today.
No, I don't. No one, no, 100%.
I need my own side. I need to unite both sides. Euthanasia, but only for politicians.
Good on, charge for me. I can't send them away. Can't do it. I've put everything onto here though, so we can do it later.
Okay,
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Oh, do you want to hold this for a second?
Sure. So my name is Montgomery Toms, and I've been given the stream.
What way is it facing?
Quite an honour.
Yes, we're here. Follow Rory Freedom on Twitter.
Yep.
I got 340 followers.
For the chat, what's people's question to Rory? And then I'll ask him. Pending. It's got 100 people. So. Pending. Oh, one new comment.
Let me have a look in the chat.
Yeah, it's difficult for me to see because of the sun. Have a look at the chat yourself because I can't actually read that. Love your enemy after it has been disabled. Oh. There you
go. It's just a trial ground here, Lee. They've been doing this for assisted murder. Don't forget that DNA evidence. Yeah, I mean, I would say that, I think it's very easy to become, like, the oppressors to become oppressed. So all this kind of tribal stuff of like, oh, let's just kill people. It's just ridiculous. Like, you really think that, like, you have to stand for something. You can't be against something. If we're constantly criticising people, and what happens when they go? Then what are we? Are we going to then start infighting, killing each other? There's no end to that logic. You got to stand for something. That's why.
There you go. Right. Tell this is not my main forte. I'm going to read the comments. Show me the comments. So I want to have a read of them. Actually, I'm going to go and interview Will. Yeah, let's get him on the spot.
Oh, he's got the mic.
Do you want to do it?
Me?
Go and interview Will. Go on, go and get him back.
Alright. Where is he? So just go over. Thank you.
Have you spoken to anyone thinking he's dying?
We did last time.
Someone asked for a flyer, a leaflet.
It's all about process and it's all about. Hi everybody. Hi everybody. Hi Rory. Hi. Am I live?
Yeah, it's live. It's
Will's talking about.
He's doing a Hendrix moment. Like,
Come on Rory, get your kit off.
Come on.
Look.
Give him a reason to live. What? Give him a reason to live. What dignity and dying. Why have you stripped like that? What? Why have you stripped like that? He's trying to pressure me to get naked. No, I'm.
It's hot as well.
Wonderful. What we used to do, like one of those fundraisers. We'll all chip in a little bit.
Make a calendar.
The question to Rory was, should we have assisted suicide? That's what we said. He's a bit pro.
I've actually.
Sure for euthanising MPs.
I'm for giving them a fair trial and then hanging the ones who are guilty of treason.
Treason against what? The king?
The Constitution, the Crown, the people.
What specifically, right?
The attack on the fundamental rights of life, liberty, property that we all have, whether that's our free speech, our right to assembly, right to bodily autonomy, robbing people blind through taxation, invasion of the country through mass occupation, through mass migration. I mean, there are just lots of different things which I think should sufficiently count. I mean, you've got the mass rape of 250,000 little girls. If that's not substantial enough to be treason, because they knew about it, they covered it up, they let it happen, they had a duty, they took people's money, and part of that is a contract that they actually have to provide one basic service, which is justice, like defence of your rights. If they're not doing that on a systematic scale, then that's treason. Now, if there's an individual case, or there's an individual case here, no system's ever going to be perfect, but when it's systematic, they're systematically processing all of this, that's when it turns into treason. So I don't understand, like, we've killed enough kings before. What's the difference with these lot?
Do you want to kill him after a trial? How would you kill him?
Well, the custom is, I'm very traditional, right? So, for
clearly.
commoners it's hanging, for nobles it's beheading, for members of the military it's a firing squad. What's the issue? I mean, don't go French and use guillotine, although we invented the guillotine. The French just stole it. Also, I do believe in the principle that the man who passes the sentence should be the man to swing the sword.
Right.
I think that if you can't go through as a judge with executing the person, then it can be commuted to life imprisonment. And I do think that should be like the role of judge. I believe in people, not getting their hands dirty if they want dirty work to be done.
And with this hypothetical trial, who what is it? Jury, court judges, like.
Generally, I believe in juries, but given the fact that they have completely ignored that we have fundamental rights, they have corrupted the juries. What I would say is, given they've been in Parliament, they've been taking away everyone's rights in Parliament, then I might go for the ancient right of bills of attainder.
So,
make them attainted. And that would be the crime.
so what would that be then?
A bill of attainder is simply a bill that passes through Parliament, passing sentence on an individual or a group of individuals. So it's basically Parliament acting in its role as the Supreme Court.
Right, so MPs vote on who dies.
I mean, first you'd have to clear the place out because it's not legitimate. Like, we don't have legitimate elections.
So,
firstly, there's the very simple thing is, right? Hello, man. On a simple level, right, the basic level, you've got all of these like dodgy Tesco's bags of postal votes that turn up, quoting Richard Tice here. You've got the fact that all the ballots are being put in the wrong bundles, you've got ballots completely disappearing, you've got no chains of custody all across the country on election nights, you've got the fact that they tactically rig select by-elections, etc., in order to stop parties building momentum. So you've got that, there's a case, Graham Moore, I've got a great interview that I'm still yet to edit, which is coming out where he might overturn the entire Runcorn and Helsby by-election. That'll be very interesting. But on a more systematic level, anyone who's not British shouldn't be voting in our elections. That's pretty simple.
How do you define British? Like,
do you have the blood of Arthur? Do you have the blood of Alfred?
So someone who's lived here 10 years.
Someone who's lived here 10 years, Jesus Christ. So if I come round and I keep on your sofa for a couple of nights, do I get to start voting?
Well, that's not 10 years, is it?
Sorry, the whole of English history, and there's like, one hair's width, which is 10 years.
So what, you think that, so you think someone who's been here a decade, right, who's got British citizenship, they shouldn't be able to vote?
Someone who is, if I have boxer shorts older than the time that person's been in this country.
Alright, 20 years then. What? It doesn't seem very thought through.
If I've got jumpers older than the time that someone's been in this country. No! What a load of nonsense. Like,
So,
if you're not British, you don't get a vote. This is our property.
yeah,
right?
but how do you define being British?
About property rights. You have property over your own body. You have property over yourself. That's why you get to speak. You get to associate. You get to move. Right? You get to live because you own yourself. Right? This land is ours. Right? It's a land built by our ancestors. It's not terra nullius. It wasn't just empty. People come into it. They're occupying it, even though there's clearly an established population here, us. And if people want to, come in here and say, "Oh, well, this is mine," it's like, no, it's not. It's not yours. It's ours.
So what about someone who's grew up here then, who's born here, but let's say they're a second generation Indian?
Jesus, of course.
No.
He was born in a stable.
I mean, that is an absolutely ludicrous argument.
Yeah, exactly, that's my point. Okay, being born in England doesn't make you an Englishman. Having the blood of Alfred, having the blood of Arthur.
So wait, hang on a sec. So you think someone who was born here and is like a second generation immigrant, they should be able to vote?
I think an immigrant is not British. Yes.
Even if they were born here, and they classify
If
themselves.
I were born in China, I would not be a Chinaman. You don't know whether I was born in China.
You would be China. Like if you were born there, you had Chinese.
I would be a Chinaman. Oh come on, don't be silly. Right, so I can't speak Chinese. Right, I don't particularly.
Right, what about if they speak English here? So they speak English. They love Britain. They love our culture.
Parlo un po' italiano. È bellissimo. Sì? Come stai?
I mean, it just seems mad. So how do you find British then?
Look, I can speak a little bit of Italian. Does that mean that I get to go and vote?
That's just a complete straw man. You weren't born in Italy, or were you?
Well, was it better where you're born?
Because that's what your home. You were born there.
No, your home is where your people are of. My people are of this land, of England, of Wales, like the Celts and the Anglo-Saxons. Those are my people, and this is our land. Someone who's been here and they got born here. Yeah, but who've they been raised by? They've been raised by foreigners who come from a different land. They literally have a homeland to which to go. They don't get to come into my house, kip on my sofa, and then start voting. Right? If you have a housemate who says, "Oh, this person is safe a little bit," sure. Right? Well, I mean, I don't personally want that loads, but if they're an okay person, maybe we can have that. But can they just start voting and controlling? No. They don't get to dilute my rights. They don't get a vote. I don't get a vote in their country. They don't get a vote in my country. Should I start getting a vote if I just happen to have been born? Say my mother was pregnant and she happened to be passing through the Netherlands. Do I get a vote in the Netherlands just because my mother happened to give birth there? No. I've got no. I have no right to run the Netherlands. I have no right to run Switzerland or China. I mean Hong Kong we need to take it back, but. I shouldn't be running Italy.
So how do we so in this crazy in this vision, what should we do? DNA?
Sorry, normal. Like
should we do DNA test then? Should we do DNA testing?
But it's not about DNA. It's not about purity. It's about continuity. It's about descent. Like you only have like half the DNA of one of your parents. You only have a quarter of the DNA of one of your grandparents.
Yeah.
So we say if you get something passed on from one of your grandparents, oh well, you only get a quarter of it. That doesn't make any sense.
What do you say to somebody who say you're just woke because you're an identitarian person who's focused on identity and not, you're focused on immutable characteristics?
You, sir, are an internationalist. You don't believe in a people and a nation, I'm
Yes,
afraid.
I do.
I believe in my people, I believe in my nation, and I believe other people and other nations, they also have a right to their own
Yeah, that
nation.
sounds great, but in practicality, what does that mean?
It means that you can go and you can visit somewhere, and if you really want to become part of the tribe, you can marry in, you can marry a British person, and your kids will be raised as British. Like, that's fine.
How do you define British?
Well, I just told you, you've got to have British ancestry. You've got to have a line of descent going back 1,000 years.
1,000 years. So anyone who doesn't, who has 999 years and 1 year doesn't, are they not British?
No.
Right.
Like, if someone has an enclave and they've literally been living in this enclave, like you see towns up north where they don't speak English, where they don't integrate with anything in England. Look at Savile Town or any other place up north where you've got these migrant communities that are occupying the area. They wouldn't consider themselves to be English, they wouldn't consider themselves to be British, and they have no interest in our culture integrating with us. And they continue that for 4, 5, 6 generations. It's still not their land. Woo! Because we never invited them. I never invited them. The people never wanted this. Enoch Powell should be prime minister. Like, what is so hard about simply saying that our nation is our nation because we come from it and our ancestors come from it for a very long time, since time immemorial?
Well, because there's so many cultures that have moved around and nice kill the bill sign just there.
There are cultures that have moved around, but at the same time, like, does that mean that the whole of India should be able to turn up here? Like 1 billion people should be able to just turn up here tomorrow? Like, if someone
who
turns
is having but what you do is you just come up with these extreme bombastic examples to.
So where's the line? Where's the line?
Where's the line? If someone comes here, they've been here for I don't know what the legal counsel. Let's say 20 years. They've got British citizenship. Because there's loads of people. There's loads of people I know who are like not born here, who seem more English and patriotic than people who are born here. So
Well, yeah, but were they descended from British people? And if they really do want to integrate, then they literally can marry into the tribe. I'm like a massive proponent of integration. Like, if someone, for some reason that their parents have decided to transplant them from their actual homeland, and they've dumped them here, and they've grown up in quite confusing and difficult circumstances, which you have to sympathise with these people, right? And they're here, then if they want to integrate, then that's completely open to them. They just have to find a British person willing to marry them, and then that culture will be passed on through the mother or through the father, and then we've got the continuity of our people going down, reaching back into the midst of time, and that's lovely. And I think that's a beautiful and sort of a transcendent thing, that we have something which is very difficult to quantify or specify, which is passed down from our ancestors on and on and on through the generations. And I don't want that to be lost. I don't want that to go extinct. And if you let a bunch of people into this country, and those people then completely change the culture of the place, okay, they make it impossible for you to live your life as you should wish to live it, as most people in this country, the natives, would wish to live it, then that is a democide. That is an attack and the erasure of our culture and our people. it's cultural cleansing. They want that's wiping out who we are. I think that's disgusting. And why would I support that? I support our land, our people, and other people have their lands, their people. You've got to have compassion. You've got to have compassion. Like, if you've got 250,000 people coming over here, and if you've got millions of people coming over here, and 250,000 little girls being, raped in these grooming gangs, like, you've got to have compassion for these little girls. You've got to have compassion to all of the people who are, everything's getting mixed up in the NHS because the doctors don't speak English. You've got to have compassion for people who walk through their hometown, like I do, where they've lived all of their lives, right? Their homeland, their capital city, and foreign language. You try and speak to people, you try and engage with people. You want to have that sense of community, and you're prevented from doing that because there are just all of these barriers. What you do is the government wants this. They want to have everyone essentially split off. They don't want that cultural unity. When the socialists tried to take over first a century ago, and they wanted to have their dictatorship of the proletariat, the working class rise up. Why was it that they didn't do that? It's because they had more in common with the people at the top and in the middle. But we're all British. These are my fellow people. You've got to have a common culture. Otherwise, everything in a society falls apart and it becomes organised. You need to have trust in a society. How can you have trust if you don't even accept basic things as common norms?
So do you think we should have any immigration? Or?
Okay, so what I do is I would limit immigration to, constitutionally limit it, by the way, to something like gross, not net, 0.1% of the population per year. And considering there are about...
So how many would that be?
There's about 60 million British people in this country, and there's about 10 million foreigners or something like that, right? So you're doing it by the number of British people. So that'd be 60,000 a year gross. On top of that, obviously, you would have to allow in anyone with British ancestry who's coming home from the colony. So if someone, their family have lived for a few generations, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, etc., like one of our proper colonies, then of course they have a right to come home because this is their homeland, this is where their people come from. But apart from that, 60,000 a year, and also auction every visa. Why do we want some government bureaucrats sitting there going, oh well, I think we need some more welders, or I think we need some more accountants, and it's 26 points for a physicist and 19 points if you happen to be some sort of chemist. How do they even quantify this stuff? If these people are so damn valuable, then businesses will turn them out and they will pay. Okay, they will pay the market rate for a visa to get the person in. Do basic criminal record checks. So long as they've got the criminal record checks and they can pay that money, great. And then you will know, by the way, and no long-term indefinite residency. It's like, okay, your visa's up, repurchase it after, 7, 10, 12 years. And I think we're all good. If someone wants to keep paying that money, then fine. And what you'd actually get is a greater enrichment, greater appreciation of the people who do come in, because they would actually be genuinely contributing rather than just coming here to earn money for themselves. It's like they're actually paying for the privilege of being here. And I do think being here is a privilege for anyone who's not from here. It's for us it's a right, for them it's a privilege.
And what do you think about Jesus? What do you think about Jesus?
Jesus?
Yeah.
Well, like we said, apparently, according to you, he's a horse.
When did I say?
Because he was born in a stable.
Fuck it out.
Well, if that's how it works, if I can, I just happen to pop out and I was in China for 5 minutes, then that makes me a Chinaman, then Jesus was a horse.
Right, separate from that ludicrous example, what do you think of Jesus?
Oh, well, it's difficult to know. Jesus of Nazareth, he had some interesting takes. He clearly was in touch with a certain amount of the mysticism and culture of the Middle East at the time. But I don't believe in the concept of merely turning the other cheek. I fundamentally believe in the concept of justice. So I believe you have to bring justice unto your enemies. And I think that a lot of people are inclined to do the sort of Q thing with Christianity, because there are different types of Christians, right? There are the Q Christians who just sort of pray for salvation, and they don't come out here and Jesus. I think these Jesus people here are actually trying to do something, so I've got more respect for these Jesus people because they're actually going out and trying to do something. So there are different types of Christians. Christians with whom I'm most in line would be the ones who recognise the supremacy of natural law, and then because their sort of justification for how society and everything should be organised would be, you know, God gives us logic. Through logic, we then derive law through our reasoning, the only difference between that and me would be we have just happened to have evolved logic, but then we come to the same conclusion. I mean, that's what Alan de Boucheray said to me. So yeah, I'm on side with a lot of Christians. I'm also opposed to a lot of Christians who just want to sort of come in and say, oh, well, you've got to do this because it would upset Jesus Christ. So first and foremost, it's no victim, no crime.
And what would you say to the argument that says Jesus was either a liar, lunatic, or Lord?
A liar, a lunatic, or what?
Or Lord.
Liar, lunatic, or Lord?
Yeah.
It depends. Do you define someone who's wrong as being a lunatic? Like, I don't.
Or someone who forgives sins, say that before Abraham who performs miracles, who performs exorcisms. If you're lying about that, you are a lunatic. And if you're not lying, you're just a lunatic, or you actually are who you say you are, the Son of God.
Yeah, I don't believe a Jew in the Middle East 2,000 years ago was the Son of God.
So do you think he was lying then?
I don't know.
Well, what was it? Because he's either a lunatic, he lied, or he was...
Well, I guess in that, by that categorisation, he'd have to be one of the three.
Yeah, and what one would you say he was?
I don't know. Could be liar, could be lunatic, not Lord.
He's not Lord.
If I were to worship gods, I'd worship the gods of my ancestors. I'd worship Andraste and Odin, but I don't believe in any gods.
So you think he was a liar, Jesus?
Well, he's got to be one of the two. He's either got to be wrong because he had this delusion, or he was misleading people because he thought that it was like the best thing, and that was the way to get through to people, and that he could maybe make people a bit more peaceful.
So a random Jew from Nazareth had one of the greatest philosophical impacts of history ever. He somehow...
When you say greatest, you'd be talking, like, if you wanted to greatest as in transformation on the modern world, then you'd have to consider Muhammad to be equal. Do you believe Muhammad was the final prophet?
No.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, the Prophet Muhammad...
Some Arab, 1,300 or is it 1,400 years ago, allegedly, did he just happen? It was like, well, which one is it? Is either one's correct or the other's correct, or then neither are correct. I don't believe either Muhammad...
No, but the difference between Christianity and Islam is, the Prophet Muhammad was 500 years after Christ, yet claims to know more about Jesus than the people who were with Jesus at the time. So, from a historical perspective...
saying that he was literally told it by an angel.
Yeah, by Gabriel.
But I don't believe that, but I mean, if you've got an angel telling you, then you can say, they got it.
Yeah, one guy, one divine revelation. In Islam, one of the most historically proven parts of history in Christianity, the resurrection and the crucifixion, Islam denies happened.
I do think it's quite convenient that he disappeared after how long? Was it 3 days, 12 days, or?
Well, Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he appeared to multiple people.
Okay. Yeah, but there were also
and historically, even one of the great skeptics, Bart Ehrman, a massive critic of the New Testament, even he admits that supposedly Jesus. Even Jesus appeared to, or for whatever reason, the disciples did sincerely believe that Jesus had risen from the dead.
Okay.
But do you think it's mass delusion, mass hallucination?
Well, we just saw that the whole half the country believes that vaccines are safe and effective.
Right, what about Paul? Paul, a guy who went around murdering Christians. He went around killing Christians, beating Christians up, sending them to prison, torturing them. All of a sudden goes on this road to Damascus moment, meets Jesus, speaks to him, and all of a sudden becomes a Christian, gives his whole life after going out killing Christians.
Dr. John Campbell was spending every day on YouTube telling people to, go out and get your jab, and then he realised that he'd been fooled by the entire thing. Andrew Bridgen got jabbed himself, and then he realised that actually it was a terrible thing.
So do you think that happened to Paul Saul?
Yeah, I think that.
What do you think happened there? Did he just make it up? Like what?
What? Is it every single other religious figure or other figure in the world is wrong and yours is right?
Well, no, because we don't believe that. I don't believe that everything in the Bible is the word of God. I think it's.
But all of these other people who claim to be prophets and have been prophets throughout history, all of these other gods and demons and everything, demigods, like these are all false. But you're one. You're Jesus of Nazareth. He's
Well, no. So well, for instance, like Jesus is one of the most documented people in history, and a lot of the other religions is built upon mysticism and not backed up by historical evidence, not even close to the way Christianity is.
When you have a very popular religion, and you're going to have a lot of people preserving a lot of the texts. I mean, that's just a factor of history. I mean,
well, no, we have people.
The Roman Empire, that was a very big thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's well documented that it existed. A small tribe in Outer Mongolia that got wiped out by a different tribe isn't necessarily documented as existing. So being successful is a measure of how historically documented you are.
Yeah, but I mean, something happened. Whatever happened, you could say a lie spread, someone deceived someone, whatever happened. But the fact is, after Jesus was crucified, thousands of people began to believe that a Jew, had risen from the dead and believed that he was the Son of God. Way before.
There were plenty of other people who did very similar things.
Yeah, but the scale of growth, if you look at before.
So you're just saying, like, this is a bit of a might makes right argument. You're like, okay, this religion is successful.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Let's say, like, most of the historical accounts, most of the testaments, most things are lost. Most of the historical record, 10,000 years from now, humanity's had some sort of cataclysm that's wiped most of it out, and all you've got is a few shards of Christianity left. Would that mean that Christianity's wrong? Just because it doesn't have all of this evidence backing it up, and let's say that 5,000 years in the future there's a new Messiah and there's plenty more evidence from that, and that takes over the whole world. Does that mean that Christianity is completely incorrect? Like, either Christianity is correct despite the historical narrative, or it's not.
Yeah, no. So you got a good point, but I would say, like, for instance, if you look at Soviet Russia, there were Christians there who believed, despite having the evidence to, or there were, if you look at the scholars of the New Testament over time, 50 years ago, scholars will argue it. There's many scholars that argue that Jesus didn't even exist. He was a myth. He was a mythical figure, right? And now we have.
Doing sacred mushroom of the cross.
No. I'm just no. But I'm just saying you wouldn't even have you would find pretty much zero scholar or historian today who would say that Jesus did not live. So over time, the truth is revealed, I believe.
But I'm not saying he didn't exist.
No.
I'm simply saying I don't believe that.
But 50 years ago, you probably would have said that. Like, you're a skeptic. Many skeptics
and now
a long time ago.
Presuming what I would say had I been born 50 years ago. Like, I'm simply saying, like, I believe that there was some guy called Yeshua ben Yosef who seems to have come from Nazareth and who seems to have been a cult religious figure who led a schismatic movement away from mainstream Judaism. So what? I don't believe he's magical. I don't believe he performs miracles. I don't believe I should worship him. I don't believe in his ideology. And many people do, but I don't. And there are plenty of other people out in the world who've done similar things, not necessarily to the same scale, or viewed to the same scale, like I said, with Muhammad ibn Abdullah, but I don't believe in them either.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, the Prophet Muhammad was after Jesus. Yeah.
Why are you calling him a prophet?
All right, yeah, I'm just being respectful. But right, Muhammad.
You can't say that as a Christian. You can't.
All right, fair. Right, good point. Right. You got a point.
You should be titling him in.
Yeah, no, you got a point. I'd say Muhammad was 500 years after Jesus. Yeah.
Just an atheist. He is a strong thinker.
He's doing some inquisition. It's been about 15-20 minutes.
Is this live streaming?
Yeah. If you look at the Prophet Muhammad again, like he says he makes claims about Jesus. Yeah, he was hundreds of years after Jesus. Who are you going to trust? A guy who is so far after the time, or people who are writing letters as early as 30
so I've
years?
got to trust one of them.
Yeah. Well, no. He's a Christian.
I would take Jesus.
All right,
Which one? Am I going to go with Muhammad or Jesus?
All right.
I think I'll go with Jesus.
We got you converted there.
I don't have to go for one of them. I can just,
Yeah.
say, oh, no, thank you.
No, fair enough. Well, thanks for that. I would talk more.
What got you into all of this Christianity then?
I would love to do a massive Bible bash and rant, to be honest, but I want to do a bit of drumming.
Hello there.
If you want to
it's fine. No, we should actually get back to covering the actual protest.
I thought you were a long time talking.
I was doing a bit of Bible
The Inquisitor. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Rory, the Inquisitor. Next time people see you on a stream, they're going to be like, the Inquisitor arrives. So do you want to tell me what's bringing you out here today then?
Well, I'm here from the Together Declaration. I head health and social care. We think this bill is incredibly dangerous. I'm also here from Families Against Voluntary Medical Euthanasia, and our stance is that the bill is, wherever you stand on the principle of assisted suicide, this is not the bill to introduce it. All the safeguard protections have been rejected. We are introducing it into a system, a care system and an NHS that is thoroughly broken, that is already rationing care and reducing choice. So when these people here say this is about their choice and their autonomy, there is no choice in end-of-life care in Britain today. And it's an illusion when care is scarce and treatment is rationed as it is being done in the NHS now. Choice is an illusion, and that's what we would say. It is just so full of holes, this bill. We had during lockdown, we had people being slapped with DNARs, and DNARs used to mean don't jump on my chest if I stop breathing. Now it means reduced care and often no treatment. Not always, but often if somebody is frail or elderly or approaching the end, as in the last couple of years of their life, often they are speeded along a pathway of what I would call managed decline. So somebody is in need of care and treatment, they're told they've reached their treatment ceiling, they are then dehydrated, they are then taken off food, they become weak. Then they say, well, the person is now dying, and this is a kind of orchestrated decline. And then they will say, time for terminal sedation, where they will put you on end-of-life drugs. So this is already happening in the NHS today. If this law comes in, it will open the floodgates for unscrupulous doctors to literally get away with murder.
So what are some of the loopholes that exist in this bill? If you can go into some of the specifics.
I think the one around anorexia now, there was an amendment 14 that was supposedly filling the loophole, closing the loophole on anorexia, but they are confusing two things. So it's one thing when people deliberately stop eating and drinking because that is a statement of them that they want to die. And it's a very different situation with people with anorexia. They don't refuse water, they don't refuse fluids. They have a mental illness that is telling them that they are fat and that they have to lose weight, and they refuse to eat. They're not refusing to keep alive. You need water to keep alive. So there's a big, a lot of MPs thought that closed the loophole. It doesn't, because that's talking about people who are deliberately stopping eating and drinking because they want to die. That is not the case with people with anorexia. They don't want to die. So that's one of them. The other thing we are very concerned about is the 2 doctors. So the 2 doctors can sign off on this. They don't have to know the patient. They don't have to have had any involvement really in their treatment plan. And they can now they can suggest to the patient that they might want to go down the path of assisted suicide. But if you are depressed, if you've just been given a terminal diagnosis, of course you're going to be depressed. You're going to be under the influence of feeling that you are a burden on your family, on others. You might be very fearful of the future, about a loss of dignity. And if something is offered to you when you're at your most vulnerable, you could just choose that when you might have months, years to live. I talk often about my own brother who has stage 4 cancer. He was given a 1-year prognosis 5 years ago. He is still here. He fights to live. He wants to live. He wants to continue living. He's put so much energy into that. My own mother was given an end-of-life prognosis 3.5 years before she died. It didn't stop the NHS trying 3 times to end her life. So, as I say, we already have assisted dying in the country, and I think this is so dangerous to bring this in. Other loophole. The thing about the 2 doctors signing off, we already know that people were pressurised into signing DNARs during lockdown. But after lockdown, they continue to pressurise people into signing DNARs, which, as I said, often reduce their treatment. If doctors are doing that now, how sure can we be that when this is introduced, they won't be nudging people towards, accepting assisted suicide? It's just so deeply, deeply dangerous. Unmet need is the greatest form of coercion there is. We have an NHS that's on its knees, social care likewise. People are not getting the care they need, and they're being forced down the line of accepting an assisted suicide because there's no care and they fear the future. That is not what we should be doing. We cannot assist the living to live. We should not be assisting people to die. And the thing is, people talk about choice. Well, as I said before, when treatment is rationing, care is scarce, choice is an illusion. And, this idea about your autonomy, this bill will have, if it passes, it will mean a complete overhaul of the NHS. The NHS will lose its purpose, its founding purpose, which was to protect life. We will now have an NHS that is ready to end life. And so I think it will have a seismic impact on the relationship between the doctor and the patient. Trust in the NHS is already at an all-time low. So it will also reduce the trust of people in their politicians. I've lost my thread. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'll come back.
Okay. So you said it's going to reduce trust in politicians. Speaking of politicians, right, here is something that might be able to bring both sides together. Euthanasia, but only for the politicians.
I'm not that cool.
Okay, so where can people find out more about you, what you're doing?
Right, so I work for the Together Declaration Health and Social Care, so togetherdeclaration.org. I also represent Families Against Involuntary Medical Euthanasia, which campaigns against the protocols I talked about, where people are declined treatment and then put on a kind of end-of-life pathway before their time. And we're hearing stories like this every week. So we are on EOL Watch on Twitter. We're only on Twitter at the moment. We hope to have a website in the next few months.
Okay. And are you free on July the 2nd by any chance?
Why?
Because I'm arranging our next round of podcasts.
Oh, okay.
So if you were around,
Yeah.
I think that would be quite good to have
Okay.
you on.
Yeah. You've got my details.
Did I have
You might have got them before, Amanda.
I think, if not, is it okay if I get them off Monty? I'll just say
Yeah,
you gave me
sure.
permission.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I've forgotten your name, sorry.
Will.
Will. I will. Sorry, I'm a bit sweaty.
Oh my god. This is why I've got the ventilation. I'm trying to give everyone a reason to live.
I'm just going to do some chanting.
Alright. Okay. It's moving up towards 2:30. I think we're going to go for a bit more. Oh, we've got a prayer thing over here.
Reject the prayers of earthly exiles. Lord, the goodness of God, all our understanding, are acquainted with our misery. And know that by our own power we cannot ascend to you. We implore you, anticipate us with grace, increasing your mercy in us. And we may faithfully do your holy will through our lives. And at the hour of our death, let the only inheritance of your mercy.
Sorry. It's alright.
Oh, they're praying.
You don't know too much about that, do you, Monty?
What?
You don't recognise prayer?
No, I thought it was talking to the kids. Sorry. No, public prayer is not something
You see a priest, you see children, and you instantly make a link.
What? No, I just got one from public prayer. GB Resistance.
Hello, hello.
Excellent.
Oh,
I love watching you on YouTube.
Oh,
yeah,
thank
great.
you,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
It's good.
Oh, so you're not a fan of this man's Instagram then?
Oh yes, yeah, of course.
Oh, right, I think we're being horrible again.
We have actually met. We met at a protest before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh dear, which one was it? We've been on so many. Yeah, no, I love your videos too.
Thank you.
Yeah, great.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah,
You got both of us. Two for
yeah,
price of one.
excellent.
No, Alan?
Yes, I do.
Hello, how you doing?
Hi, you're right.
Good to see you.
There you go. You got us all. The YouTube stars all together. You're a YouTube star.
So, do you want to say what brings you out here today then?
Well, protesting the bill. I'm a Christian, and this is a great wickedness. The Bible says that righteousness exalteth a nation. Sin is a reproach to any people, and this is a national reproach. It's a disgrace. And what they did last Tuesday, allowing the murder of children up to the point and during their birth. What wickedness is this? I feel very strongly about it. That's why I'm here.
Do you think that more Christians and priests should be out? Where are all the Christians?
Yeah, we would love to see more, of course. But I know people are busy. People have got their own lives to lead.
Did Jesus not say sell your cloak by a sword?
Yes, he did. That's why I'm here. I mean, it's not for me to judge other people, what they do. I've got to do what I can do. Yeah. And I'm glad to see you do what you do as well.
Thank you. Cheers, man. Thank you. Where is the telephone? This probably drains a lot of my battery. It's not drained too much. What have we got for power here? No, I don't know what the pin is. How do I get out of here? Oh, it's got a bit. I don't know how much power you've got in there. Do you want to double check?
Enough.
So it's like a quarter or something?
22%. Is fine.
Yeah, thank you. There we go. And that makes it worth hefting around this massive bag. It's been a very interesting and theological day so far. Alright, I think I'm going to go get some shots of the signs. I'm sure you'll come with me. I need to head off probably in about 20 minutes after we get the reaction to this. I believe the vote may be happening now. Resistance GB.
Who are they?
Freedom journalists. We cover anyone standing up for freedom.
What do you mean by freedom?
Natural rights, life, liberty, property. Like John Locke said.
There's a better kind of freedom where you're free from your own sinful tendencies, your selfishness. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, you're talking about essentially more the positive freedom in and of you not being necessarily chained to this earthly realm.
Well, do you think you've got selfish tendencies?
Everyone does, don't they?
Have you ever stolen or lied?
Lied, must have. Stolen, yeah, at some point.
You're a liar and a thief?
Lighters, especially.
Cigarette lighters?
Oh, yeah. You know, you just got to be more aware that someone lends you a lighter and you end up... There's one time, the worst time, I went out with one terrible lighter that didn't work, and I woke up the next morning and I had about 8 clippers in my pockets. And I thought, oh wow, I've gone too far.
There's the lying and the stealing. There's another law that says don't commit adultery. But Jesus said if you just look at someone and fantasize about, lusting for them, fantasize about having sex with them, that counts as adultery. Did you know that?
See, that's a take that was the Vatican Conclave II in the 60s took up, and I think that's a little bit puritanical. I don't believe in thought crime. I don't believe that thought could be a crime.
Well, suppose
and I'm a man. I appreciate beautiful women.
Okay, so I guess you're saying yes, you've lost it, have you?
Of course.
Right.
Not asexual.
Okay, no, well, fair enough. You're like me. You're like pretty well everybody male, but it's also an offence to God. Okay. Okay. There's one more law I'd like to ask you about. Did you ever misuse God's name as a swear word or treat it without respect?
Yep.
It's called blasphemy. It's very serious. Would you ever use your mother's name as a swear word?
Well, it wouldn't make a very good swear word, but if it did, yes.
You would use it?
Yeah, terrible one.
So you don't really respect your mum?
No.
Oh.
She's awful, terrible person.
Oh. But she gave you life. Carried you for 9 months in the womb.
Yep, stuck me in the so-called care system, imprisoned me, took me away from my family, my home, my education, my possessions. Horrible, ghastly woman.
Sorry to hear it. So anyway, have you ever misused God's name, as I said?
Misused? I mean, what? I said,
OMG, the name of Jesus.
I mean, no, because see, there's a difference there. Because God is a word. I mean, it can.
God isn't what?
Well, God is a common noun. It can be used as a proper noun, but it's also a common
That's
noun.
true. But the true God knows He's the only God.
Yeah, but
the only real God.
But which name are we talking about? Yahweh,
Well, if
Jehovah, Yahweh.
What people tend to misuse is just the word God. So OMG becomes interchangeable with shit or some other dirty word, and the name of Jesus as well. Are you with me?
Yep.
God doesn't appreciate that. He knows He's the only true God.
Well, why would he be so upset?
Because, well, it would upset the king if you used the word king as a filth word.
Which king?
King Charles, the king of this country.
Charles Windsor, that treasonous traitor.
Oh, okay, so you get what I mean. You're obviously not bothered about upsetting him.
No, I mean, for his crimes, he needs to be tried and executed.
Right.
We've managed to successfully execute, 1 out of 2 of the previous Charleses.
Right,
50% success ratio. Although, to be fair, Charles II wasn't that bad. Like, Charles I was monster. Charles II came in, seems to do a pretty good job with the restoration. So I don't have too much against Charles II. Seems to have done a fairly good job. But Charles Windsor, like, he has committed complete treason against his people. He's passing through all of these repugnant, illegal, unconstitutional acts to strip us of our basic rights. That is treason. Like, his job, the job of a true king is to uphold the rights of the people. If Charles Windsor is doing the opposite of that, that is treason. And he needs to be held to account. Like, you cannot rule a country unless you have, legitimate authority. He has no legitimate authority because he does not do the role that would make him king. What, do you genuinely support Charles Windsor?
I pray for him. He's not quite like his mother was, shall we say?
Oh, I think he's just like his mother.
Do you think so?
Well, look at the debasement of juries. 1967, right? One day, you need 12 out of 12 people, right, to decide that you're guilty of a crime. The next day, you can have 2 people turn around and say, no, I believe they're completely innocent, and you'll still be convicted and put in prison. They stripped our fundamental natural rights, right, to justice.
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, well, she just signed everything. She was like a rubber stamp. She was like, those things that they have, you see them on the funny videos where they go flick on Tinder or whatnot, right?
No, I haven't seen it.
Tinder. It's one of those dating apps.
Yes.
It's one of those. So, and the idea is they're meant to swipe right or left. I don't know which one.
Okay.
And then so people just swipe through all of them. And someone creates a machine. That was what Elizabeth Windsor was. She completely sold out our country. She sold out our sovereignty to the European Union. She sold out our free speech. She lost us our empire. She sentenced millions of people. In fact, I think it's over 1 billion people around the world to lose their fundamental rights when the empire crumbled. Wars all over the place because she did that. I mean, where do we start? What about our right to bear arms? What about our right to self-defence? Everyone has a right to self-defence. She dared have the right to infringe upon that. Okay, down there, we can see it. That's the cenotaph. Millions of people gave their lives so we could live in freedom. She defecated spiritually upon that monument. So when she went and laying a wreath, disgusting. All it was lip service. She didn't care for those people. What they fought for was our freedom. And she defecated upon it. Disgusting. Horrible, ghastly woman. Ghastly, evil woman. And the same for her son. And we need a proper, true king, right, who upholds the rights of his people. Full stop. So why would I have any deference to people who are some of the greatest criminals in this entire country?
See, yeah. So those questions I was asking, the point of them all is this: you've broken all about lying and stealing and looking with lust. Have you had sex outside marriage?
Fair few times.
Okay. So that's adultery. It offends God. The point of all the questions is this: that one day we've all got to face God, Judgment Day. He wants to have a judgment event, deal with the people who need their comeuppance, and have a world from then on without selfishness. Judgment Day is coming, and I fear that you'll be on the wrong side of the law and in trouble. Do you think you'll be innocent or guilty if he judges you by these things I've asked?
Well, I think I'll be guilty of a number of things. I think everyone's guilty of a number of things. I don't believe there's any crime in me having sex. I don't believe that's adultery.
Well, that's just the definition of adultery, sex outside of marriage.
If you are married.
If you are married, and if you're not, it's fornication.
Well, then, I'm not married, so it would be fornication and being married.
That's an offence as well.
I don't believe that's a crime, though, because there's no victim.
God created the heterosexual family as the main building block for society. That's the best environment for bringing up kids.
I think marriage is great. I think it is the best system for bringing up kids. Totally agree with you.
So we could.
However, I at the same time I do have rights, and I don't understand like what right this God has to judge me.
Oh, you don't.
No.
So
I'm an Englishman.
Do you believe God exists?
No.
Right. Well, let me put that right. It's very simple. Take a building like that. How do you know that some builder built it, or maybe builders?
You're doing a watchmaker argument.
It's similar, yeah. We know though there's a builder because the building exists. It cannot have built itself. If I show you the Mona Lisa, how do you know somebody painted it?
Because you can tell that there's some sort of conscientious...
Somebody with intelligence and skill and... Okay. So you see a world like this, how do you know there must have been a creator to make it? Because it's complex, because it shows evidence of design and intelligence.
So complex things can't exist naturally?
Things can't create themselves. If you... It sounds there are people out there, like atheists, who believe the scientific impossibility that nothing created everything.
Oh, I believe that possibility and probability created everything. I believe that every possibility that can happen will happen, and that there is a near infinite amount of parallel universes with every possibility
created this universe?
The simple possibility that it could exist.
That's not a power. That's just an idea.
Well, non-contradiction. I mean, for example, the world literally cannot contradict itself. You can have a person contradict themselves in terms of their words, but the world itself cannot contradict itself. 1 + 1 cannot ever equal 5.
I'm with you there.
So, given that, that's a hard rule to the whole of the universe that cannot be contradicted. You can never have a square circle.
No.
Things can't contradict. So, you've got the sphere of things that couldn't possibly exist, and that creates a sphere of things that could possibly exist. And that possibility is a probability. If it can exist, it will exist. If it can happen, it will happen.
But
I think every possibility is playing out.
Some force or power or person has to make it.
No, I think it's just logic is an inherent metaphysical trait of all realities. Whereas I don't believe that a God is. Logic would exist wherever you are, whenever you are.
Doctors about what they're going to give these elderly.
Over there.
I don't think it's needed to be. They can get a copy of it.
See you soon.
That's what they're going to be stuffing down their throats.
Yes.
Logic would exist wherever or whenever you are.
Not a joke.
So, yeah, I mean, in no universe ever could there be a square circle. It's never going to be possible.
Quite agree.
So it's universal. It is the universal, and it's from there that we derive our natural law and our natural rights. Whereas a God just puts you back into the infinite regress, because then it would be who created this God. You can say the God's eternal.
That's not the case. You wouldn't need that question, who created the God, because if the God had been created, he wouldn't be the ultimate.
But the God, in order to exist, the God must have been created.
If the God had always existed, that would solve the problem. And that's what the Bible teaches us. We have this very special book which shows evidence of its supernatural origins because it predicted things way before they happened. Have you ever looked at biblical prophecy?
I've looked a little bit at the Bible. I find it interesting. It's got some really interesting analogies. It's got some great stories in there, but I don't believe it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, well, you're free. You've got a free country here for a little while.
Oh,
but we're losing our freedoms.
Well, by law it's a free country, but de jure, but de facto, no. We're having our rights completely stripped away from us. But fundamentally, we have rights as Englishmen to this land.
Some of these. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So do you know what God's done to help people get out of trouble on Judgment Day?
Well, the whole idea is that he has sacrificed his son, who is also himself in a Trinity, in order to take on your sins. But to me, that's a ritualistic sacrifice. I don't believe anyone else can take your crimes unto themselves, because he considers himself to be the aggrieved party rather than the party against whom the grievance occurs. Yahweh, God.
Yahweh, God.
Yeah, so he considers himself to be the aggrieved party, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that if someone has turned around and punched me in the face, that they can go over there and confess to their God, and that will forgive them. I think their crime is against me, right? If someone were to come up and punch you, they can't just walk. Well, you might be okay with that, but if someone said, okay, I'm going to go pray to Moloch or something, and they can forgive me, no one else can forgive, apart from the person who's aggrieved against.
All right. So just to recap, you've broken some of them laws, and the Bible says if you break one, it's as if you break them all.
That
you'd be guilty on Judgment Day. You'd be guilty on Judgment Day, and you know what God's prison is?
Eternal hellfire, or temporary hellfire, or just absence from God.
It is eternal, and I'd like to help you get into God's good books and have a leg to stand on Judgment Day. Now, it works like this. But thank you for your patience listening. This will be very brief. If you were in court for speeding, suppose you got a big speeding fine. If a third party stepped up and paid it, the judge could let you go and it would be legal. You could say, Fred, whatever your name is, there's a stack of speeding fines here, but you can walk out because this guy paid them.
So if you commit murder, can someone come up and offer to jump in prison for you?
We've all done things like that are as bad as murder. Lying, stealing, they all...
I have not done anything as bad as murder.
Okay, but let's not... I don't want you to prejudge how bad God rates your sin, okay? He might rate it differently because he thinks differently. To him, one breaking of one law is enough to put you on the wrong side of him. Hello. And that gets you in trouble on Judgment Day. That requires a sacrifice. See,
shouldn't he be turning the other cheek though?
No, listen.
But that's what he said.
It works like this. We broke the law and Jesus paid our fine. So because somebody paid our fine, the judge can now let us go on condition that we repent. Do you know what repenting is?
Yeah, to actually be genuinely sorry for what you're supposed to
Sorry enough to change. Sorry enough to,
But the thing is,
change your ways.
Yeah, but why shouldn't he just turn the other cheek? Because he seems to be the one getting upset about me doing things that seem to offend no one except for him, that have no victim apart from him allegedly. But I don't believe that he is the victim.
Right.
I don't believe he exists. But even if he did exist, then he wouldn't be the victim.
If you step off a cliff because you don't believe in gravity, it'll still get you. His laws will still get you, even though you've decided you don't believe in him.
Well, I believe.
Can you remember when you decided not to believe in him?
But natural law is derived from logic. Like natural law trumps, what's written in this book.
And where's natural law based on?
Logic, our reason. We decipher from the world. I mean, law is to be discovered, not dictated.
So, are we the product of chance, in your view?
Well, definitely. Most definitely.
So if we're the product of chance, with our thoughts being just the product of chance, how can we trust our thoughts and our logic? But we have a book tells us about a better way.
But how can we trust our thoughts and our logic with regards to this book? How can we trust this book? There's a book. Parts of it come down to chance.
Because it's not just based on my thoughts, which might, you know, I don't believe my thoughts are the product of chance. Perhaps you do. But you see, that's why
So you believe you have divine knowledge. So you basically, I think
I've received some revelation out of that book.
I haven't, and
okay.
I find it interesting, but I'm not
very kind to listen to me. Can I give you $1 million?
$1 million?
This is to save you trouble. There's the punchline. Just a reminder of what I've said.
Heaven exists. Are you good enough to go there? Oh, I've got Simon Cowell. Will.
Andrew.
Nice to meet you, Andrew.
Londoner?
Yeah, North London, Enfield.
You got an Enfield rifle?
I wish. Well, I would like to have my rights back, so I could have my Enfield rifle and I could defend my life
against the Americans and carry it.
Yeah. Oh man, I'd be walking around with a revolver on my hip. If not for all of these scumbags.
Well, you've got one of these. They're powerful.
They are powerful.
Who do you broadcast to?
This is live to YouTube at the moment.
Okay.
Have we gone? The power's out.
So how are they going to do it? How does this going to be stopped?
Right, are we back? Aha, we are back. Very good. For some reason we had some sort of issue there. I think it might have been overheating. Right. Got some power in here. We are on a couple of percent at the moment.
That just refuses disabled people in Birmingham instead of human beings living in China. And also the Nazis had a false euthanasia campaign. T4, Action T4, the subject of T4.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I think it's time for us to wrap up. Together now. Hello there. Not too bad.
Yes. I must say I'm very upset. I just knew this was going to happen because, you know, Rishi Sunak had messed it up for the Tories and they got... I thought they were going to count on 90 to 200 seats. They in fact got only 120. So the scale of it was off the bad. They lost Ashford and Kent have been Tory forever. Cities in London, Westminster have been Tories forever. Hexham and Northampton. All these seats have been Tory even 1997. Rishi Sunak's got his part to blame in this, basically, because, you know, he was a catastrophic failure as a leader of the Conservative Party. He was also a bit of a, you know, 18 months of being dictator about an election, so I'm very disappointed with the state of this country.
Okay.
I'm just trying to be polite at the moment. I'm not angry. I'm just trying to say this politely as I can.
I have a question for you.
Go on.
If this camera's going to turn on?
Go on.
Okay. Euthanasia, but only for the politicians.
I think that euthanasia is wrong in all cases. Although I'm not in love with politicians, I'd oppose that because the Nazis had a full euthanasia programme called Action T4, which is historical fact. Even in Nazi Germany, there's enough public opposition to put some official halts on it, and that says something. It was so bad, even in Nazi Germany, the public were disturbed by it.
Right, yeah, thank you. Oh, 1 second, just let me throw a new battery in.
These people having their fun.
Can we get a picture of you?
Hello there, did you want to speak a little bit?
Yeah, what I just want to say is that if they don't have the fear of God, they need to fear Jesus, they need to fear God. You know, the time of Herod, when the Herod said they should be killing because of Jesus Christ, and they want to wipe off all the children so that Jesus Christ could not come in. Then the Hebrew women, they fear God. They said they're not going to kill any male child. Herod passed a law that they should kill children if it is a male, because he don't want Jesus Christ to come in. So the Hebrew women, and they fear God, and they did not kill any male child. So if these people, they have fear of God, all these things will change. They will encourage people. They will assist them, not to assist them to die. This is what I want to say. It's Jesus. It's only Jesus can solve all these problems. If they have the fear of God and the fear of Jesus, and if Jesus is ruling in this country, all these things will not happen. This is what I want to tell the whole world, that Jesus Christ is the only answer to all these problems. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah?
I think we're going to do that.
Sorry, we're live. Is that okay? It's pointing over here. Oh, this is TV. I'm a journalist. Will.
We know each other.
Everyone's on the Jesus wave. Like, I'm just here, like, defending my theological opposition. It's it's interesting. Like, Rory from Together decided he was going to take the camera and do like a 15-minute inquisition of me.
Okay, and then you're against these instances like this?
No, he just wanted to ask me for 15 minutes why I didn't believe in Jesus.
Oh, you don't believe in Jesus? Okay. But you're against these instances like this?
Do you think I trust the government? Do you think I trust the government that they keep this to, like, you know, 120 people a year who are in chronic, agonising pain and actually every minute of their life is suffering? No, I don't trust the government.
Yeah. Okay. Or do you trust it?
Do you trust anyone? Oh, do you know what? I trust my cat, Loki. He's so cute. He's adorable.
That doesn't count.
What?
That doesn't count.
Whoa! What do you mean Loki doesn't count?
Because your cat doesn't have faculties of, like, of reason, of will, of
He's got his own will, right? He knows when he wants to be let in the room. He's like, open the door, right? He knows when he wants me to, you know, turn on the tap so he can drink out the tap.
Yeah, but that's not the animal instinct. That's not necessarily like
We could get really theological.
Yeah.
Like about the will being like a spiritual faculty, and like
of animals, yeah. Like, what about Francis of Assisi? Like, he was into, you know,
yeah, but
animals.
that's more into like the world is fallen and spreading the gospel, like preaching to the ducks.
Yeah, like
bringing the world back into.
The animals that they've got finite souls. So, I mean, trees have souls, but a tree can't reason things.
Does a tree have a soul?
Yeah, finite soul. Anything that's living has a soul. But then that doesn't mean you're going to say that the tree has its own will. Just because it can't say, I don't feel like growing today. It just does because of instinct.
But we can't turn around and say, I don't feel like, you know, growing today, or, you know, getting older today. We can't do that. But Loki can decide that, you know, he just wants to go outside, or he wants to come inside, or, you know, he wants to come and cuddle with me, he likes me. Like, he does have an element of reason.
Or does he have a conscience?
He knows when he's done stuff wrong. He knows to behave.
So I have a cat, and I know that it's not necessarily I can observe it, and I can see it, that it's not a conscience thing. It's more like my cat knows when it's done something wrong because of like a response. Like, I know people get like a spray gun or whatever, thinking, no, like,
it catch them against that now. Yeah, next week.
We're into like the last 5 minutes.
Very well, Minister.
Right, see you now.
Oh, wait. Favourite Bible verse before you go?
favoured by the Word became flesh and dwelt amongst us.
There we go.
So what is this that you're doing?
Journalism.
Okay.
I'm just absolutely, overheated. So I thought I'd sit down. It's live, so it's just
How many people view?
I think we're down to about 60 at the moment. We had like 150 people watching.
I can
live.
try and bump those numbers up.
Okay, I'm going to bump the numbers. So do you want? So what's the news at the moment with the? Oh, you're making me get off. Right, let's happen. Right. So let's bump these numbers.
The bill has passed, as far as I'm aware. I'm guessing similar to the. If it hasn't already, it's going to go to the House of Lords. In an ideal circumstance, I think they would vote against it and it can get bounced back to the House of Commons. But it has been. Was the third and final vote on it officially. So, I mean, it's to think that the state can decide who lives and dies, like abstracted into like the NHS and the idea that it can just dictate and we were chanting about it earlier saying like pro-choice, that is wrong, it won't be your choice for long, because if the default is not palliative care, not supporting dementia care, not supporting end-of-life care, not supporting making end-of-life situations for sick people bearable, then the assisted suicide becomes the default in the mind of a lot of people. And, UKIP is against that. I'm sure Tommy is against that. I've seen Tommy Robinson being against. He, like March for Life last year, he reposted about March for Life last year. Like, the political window is shifting. The right needs to get behind the right things, and this is where faith comes in. If the right has no idea where to go, it is completely fragmented and split apart, it needs something to get behind. And what it can get behind is the faith, to get behind Christianity. And Christianity, first and foremost, fundamentally, advocates unequivocally in support of the fundamental dignity of human life. And that is unequivocal. And you can see the wheat being cut from the chaff in this circumstance. Things are splitting. It's you are either with life or you are against life. That's where things are at. You are either with the state and the culture of death, or you are on the side of a new government that actually supports and upholds the dignity of human life. We need a new government. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We need a complete overhaul of the existing government. Labour should not be in power. We need a general election. We need Starmer to step down. We need another general election. We need by-elections. We need the politics to shift, because this isn't good enough anymore. It's not good enough. Liberalism has failed us. It has failed the West.
Mean socialism.
We need Christendom. It has resulted in socialism because it started in a shift from the focus on God to the focus on man, and it all being about man and his choice and his satanic desire for self-death gratification, and that has resulted in a state which is saying, hey, vote for me, I'll give you what you want and I'll get what I want, and then you end up with Starmer and you end up with the Labour Party getting what they want, and you end up with greed, and you end up with a complete horseshoe where the private and public sector are owned by the same people, doing the same things, expressed by the same greed. We need a new government. A government which gets rid of this greed and upholds the dignity of human life. So that's my position. I think that's Nick Secretary's position. That's what we uphold, and that's what we'll continue to push for, and that's what we're going to vote on.
Alright, so that is it for today, guys. It seems the bill's gone through. It seems that there may be euthanasia coming to you soon. Although, hello man, good to see you. Although it's still to go through the Lord, so there may be further process to come, and there may be further fight back, and it may be pushed back to the Commons if there's enough energy behind it. Anyway, back to the studio.
positions. I'm just trying to find stuff that will get